Since we are born in this world, this has repeated every day. Sunrise, sun goes down. So that means there is a up, there is a down. Since we are born, we have inhaled 50% of our times, we have exhaled 50% of our times. Our heart, the same. Sucking the blood, pumping the blood, also the same. Meaning always 50-50. Always the exchange between left and right, up and down, bright and dark, in and out, success and failure.
Markets go up, markets go down, portfolios rise and fall. Today, the markets crumbled on the fact that chip stocks plunged and pulled the S&P 500 and the QQQ and the NASDAQ down with them, causing our recent entry into the SQQQ to pop, as well as taking a look at a lot of stocks today and asking ourselves the question, are they on sale, or is this the beginning of falling off the proverbial edge? I've shown you guys the S&P 500 chart many times and told you at the beginning of last week, Monday, when we were above the rising bearish wedge, that was going to potentially be a classic bull trap. But now that we've come back and ended today sitting on top of it, if we take a bear position too soon, it could end up being a bear trap. The fact is, the markets have gotten more volatile, guys, and we've got to get prepared. And you know how I prepared the Stocks with Josh Discord today? Well, one, we kicked things right off at the open with Tesla calls, driving up around 44%, a beautiful win. I'm going to go over some of that here in a minute. But then right after that, saying, let's pump our brakes and let's not overtrade today, because we need to see how all this choppiness is going to play out. Now, today I'm going to reveal a big tech stock that I took a position in right near the close of the day. It's a big tech stock that I think it's time to buy the dip on, and I bought the dip on it. I'm going to reveal that with you guys today. And there's a lot of other stocks in play right now that we're going to go over. I've got so much to cover. And then a really strange event occurred to me today that I have to share with you guys. I called a random website regarding ceramic coating for a new vehicle of mine, and I left a message after hours. And I got a call back today from a gentleman, and he was actually not representing that company. He said that site has been directing their calls to my phone number. He said, I've got nothing to do with that. And, showing myself friendly, we ended up talking, and it somehow came up what he did for a living, which was he was a lawyer representing clients in Maui against Hawaiian Electric. And I thought, well, that's fascinating. I got to see if I can pick his brain a little bit about that case and how it might play into the stock for all of you guys and for us. And I had one of the most interesting random conversations I've ever had in my life. At the end, we actually formally exchanged our real numbers, and we're going to meet up here in Hawaii in a week. But he gave so much insight to the risk surrounding the Hawaiian Electric HE stock, as well as a big giant news event that's going to drive the stock even higher or to absolute zero that's unfolding in the next couple days. At the end of this video, I'm going to shed a little bit more light on that. But we've got a lot to cover, and this is the Stocks with Josh show. Appreciate you guys joining me today. Thank you to all who already hit the like. If you're new to this page, we talk stocks and crypto, and specifically from the perspective of analyzing the charts. I believe that price is truth, and the charts will lead the way. If you need help interpreting the charts or getting better entries, or if you're trading or investing has simply been unprofitable, maybe it's because you're not following the disciplines. I lay them out on this show all the time. You want to trade the trend, you want to use a stop loss, you want to control position size, and you want to avoid revenge trading or over trading. And that's what we did when we pumped the brakes today, and we waited for a little bit more market information before getting into new plays. We had to prevent ourselves from over trading. That was the discipline that we used to make money today. Now, the call that I gave right at close was on Amazon, and we are all in the money. The last words that I typed before coming to do this video was place your stop losses in. Everybody should be up. Let's see where this baby goes. If we get above $188, it will really fly. We'll get into that chart here in just a minute. Guys, hit the like and the subscribe if you need help trading these choppy markets. So let's talk a little bit about what's been driving these markets. I want to talk about some of the news stories behind this downturn event, which, even though it was news story driven, the fact is we were overheated to the upside. And there was a high probability that there would be some profit taking at that point, because that's the way the market works. Just like the gentleman said at the beginning, there's going to be buy days and there's going to be sell days. And today definitely was a take profit sell day. But the news behind the event was regarding chips, regarding Washington, D.C., and the old classic China FUD story about the U.S. cracking down on the economic Cold War that we've got going on with China. The news article read this morning, AI earthquake. Semiconductors suffer their worst sell-off in years on stricter U.S. chip exports to China. Guys, let's just keep it all into perspective. Do we really have a catalyst that's going to absolutely cause these markets to crumble? What would it be? The fact is that the economy's been pretty strong, as we've learned recently, and inflation has cooled and come down, and we're in an election year, which is a lot of positives. Easing money on a somewhat strong economy that hasn't shown too many signs of weakness isn't necessarily a bad point to be investing. So I don't believe that this particular news story is really what pulled the markets down, nor do I believe that the overall bullishness that we've experienced has come to a flat end and it's time for the markets to crash. All that I'm expecting between now and the election is perhaps the opportunity of a much overdue 10% correction. And some people would say, well, should I sell my entire portfolio? Well, for a 10% correction, I'm not sure that would be the best thing to do, but you need to consult with your financial advisor, because I'm just here for educational purposes. So Chinese FUD was the manipulation go-to that Wall Street used today to take some profits. They blamed Biden on that. And I shouldn't even make a comment, but do any of you really think that Biden woke up this morning saying that he was going to crack down on China? Somebody did, but I'm not sure it was Biden. And then we had some important data that came out that's highlighted in the Stocks with Josh Discord. There's a channel which gives you the economic calendar from week to week. And what we were looking at today was June housing starts were higher than expected. This again showed strength in the economy. Housing starts were up 3% month over month. And then in addition to that, building permits were also up 3.4% month over month. This again goes to the fact that inflation is cooling, but the economy is still showing signs of strength. Now we're right in the start of Q2 earnings, and we're going to find out when big tech begins to reveal how they're doing and give forward guidance. We're going to find out then how strong the economy is, but this could actually be a buying opportunity. I'm not really going to tell you guys whether you should load up or sell your bags. I will tell you that we have definitely entered into a higher risk environment. And then we actually got one more data point that I think the market's paying attention to, as well as I am, and that's the June manufacturing production. It rose more than expected, 0.4% month over month. Now, this solicited a reaction from Fed Waller, who said that we're getting close to cutting rates, but we need a bit more evidence, which has really been the theme of a lot of the talk that we've had from the Feds, basically saying that they think that things are going their way, but they need a little bit more evidence before they have the confidence to actually cut rates. Now, with all that bullish data that we got today, the prediction on the Fed funds rate getting cut in September dropped 5%. So it does matter when the market sees these bullish data points come out. So I want to leave you guys with this question regarding inflation. Has the Fed conquered it? Is he just holding back the bulls at this point? Should he cut in September? I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Let me know. Okay, let's talk a little bit about some notable earnings that are ahead of us tomorrow. We've got two companies that I'm watching in particular that I'll likely take some sort of action on. One is TSM, Taiwan Semiconductor, reports earnings tomorrow morning, and they dropped 15% today. And so this has potentially created an opportunity, because the fact is the chart is cooked to the downside on the RSI. It's extremely oversold, and I would expect some form of a potential bounce here if they came out with good earnings. Now, if it's a perfect storm for them and they dropped 15% and then gave bad forward guidance tomorrow, then watch out below. There's a lot of trouble ahead. If you take any position, I would definitely advise or encourage you to manage risk appropriately by using our number 3 discipline that we talk about, control position size. And then another earnings that we've got on market close tomorrow is actually Netflix. Now, this big boy tells us a lot about the economy, because whether users are shutting down subscriptions or joining new subscriptions tells us a little bit about cash flow and what people can afford. Now, these guys are actually down 8% from their record recent local highs. And even though I do like the stock and I do see them having pulled back to some level of support, I'm a little bit less bullish on this particular play, only because I see the potential of a head and shoulders pattern and with some more room to the downside. So we're going to watch this one carefully. I believe in being reactive to the markets, not proactive. Basically, it means let the stock show me what it wants to do. If it wants to break to the upside, then I'll come tardy to that party and I will try to catch a little bit of it. But today I'm not going to take a position on Netflix. I'm just going to watch it. But let me know in the comments if you guys like Netflix for tomorrow's earnings. And then I've got to briefly talk about the Stocks with Josh Discord and one of the indicators that I built in, a couple custom channels that I created, specifically titled the Flare Indicators, that I am tracking NVIDIA and the SPY. First, I just want you guys to know that these are just test indicators. I've built them and they're getting tweaked, but I have noticed that they have actually worked extremely well. And so I'm excited about how we're going to use them in the coming days. If you go and look in those channels, you can see that NVIDIA was signaled with what I've got indicated as 3 bears, talking about trend, strength, and momentum. All 3 bears pointed to the fact that today was going to be a down day on NVIDIA, and sure enough, it was. And so that turned out to be a great signal. And then about a week ago, we got a great bullish 3 rockets off of the SPY signal, telling us that we were going to go on to make an all-time high, which we did over the course of last week. And so right now, these are working great. I've seen a couple things I've got to tweak with them, with some titling and a little bit of description. And I might even change the time frame in which they signal on. I was considering dropping the signal from a 4-hour to a 3-hour. I am working on these, but I'll tell you one thing right now. These are going to be great signals for making a ton of money. Those are signals that you can have in the mid-tier on the ChartGoat University. I'm going to leave a link in the top pinned comment. It is a great community with great traders, a ton of motivation, and I'm in talks with Putin 16 to get their own channel to trade the SPY, because they're hot on the SPY, and I'm going to try to talk to them later today and set them up with their own channel, because it's not just me in there dropping TA, but I drop a ton of TA and provide calls each and every day and micro classes on Tuesday and Thursday and doing live trading throughout the week. But we've got others in there helping everyone along. I love it. Check it out for yourselves. Hope to see you over there. All right, let's get some chart time. We're going to cover a little bit of Tesla. I'm going to talk about AVGO. I'm going to show you the Amazon chart, and we have to talk about VFC. We've got a lot to cover. What's VFC? Well, that's the owner of North Face. It's been a long-term accumulation for me, and they popped 8% today. I don't think I'm going to be able to do a deep dive on all of these today. I'm just going to flash you the charts and give you a couple opinions on them. But has VFC finally bottomed, and is it giving us a breakout signal finally? This has been one that I have been confidently buying a little bit every day for long-term accumulation, because I believe that it can get back to $30, $40, $50 in 2025 is sort of my projection. And so it's had a nice pop today. Let's hope that it follows through. Let's jump into some charts. First off, let's just acknowledge again that we see a clear rotation out of big tech and possibly into a lot of other smaller cap stocks. Let's just kick things off with the AVGO chart. I just want to point out this thing has fallen back quite a bit. This is another stock that I took a starter position in today and alerted in the Discord. Our entry zone being between 159 and 156. Now I do see that we are sitting right on that 156.60 support. It is a pretty decent support, and so I'm hoping to see that price suck up above and for us to move higher tomorrow. I do have a stop loss, though, at 156 on that small position play, and I will keep an eye on it because I believe that there is still opportunity in AVGO, even though it's run up quite a bit. Taking a peek at the daily Netflix chart, I see that potential head and shoulders pattern. If we were to break this 640 price range, through earnings tomorrow, we could easily come back to 580, which I would be more confident at 580 to take a long position to back to 655. We're going to have to watch Netflix and see tomorrow how it plays out. If we get a bounce off of this 640 tomorrow, then we could go all the way back up to our local high at around $700. All right, Tesla. Cannot keep things any more simple for you guys. It has been the 253 price point that we have to get above to get bullish and to know that we're going to be able to get back to 270. I gave the target after we did the calls on the run up this morning to 257.15 range. I gave the target that if we failed and came back under 253 that we would come as low as 246. We came back to 246 and 18 cents. Darn it, 18 cents away from perfection again. 246 was just a general support line, but we did bounce in that area. We got to see whether or not we can get above 253. Guys, get bullish when Tesla price is above 253. Be on high alert when it is beneath 253 because it's not out of the woods, as they proverbially say. All right, let's take a look at Amazon on the daily chart. Guys, this has pulled back a lot. Let me just take a quick peek at how much it has pulled back. We are down near 8% from the local high. We got some great bullishness when we got above 200. There obviously has been some profit taking. We're in an ascending channel, which at some point will have to break to the downside. But one of the things that specifically drew me to Amazon today was the 4-hour chart and how oversold it got. In a very short time frame, it just simply sold off too fast. And this is where I am expecting some form of a bounce. And the price points that I've marked on the chart are the ones to watch. We got in right around 186, and we're obviously seeing some beautiful candles. I told everybody that if we could get above 188 and close today, then we're going to be sitting beautifully. Now we will have to back test our ascending channel, and that would be the next area that we want to see us climb back into the channel. And that would tell me, that would be the second confirmation that I would need to tell me that we can get all the way to 210. Now, we're giving a little bit of time to these options, these call options. This is not a scalp trade. This is one that I'm hoping to hold. And we're going to see how fast it moves. We're going to see what it does, but it just simply seemed oversold. And so I'm going to try to hold the winner. If Amazon turns out to be a winner, I'm going to try to hold it as long as I can, see if we can get back up to that 210 level. There's no guarantees. Somebody's going to come back to me tomorrow. If this thing fails to break up, they're going to say, Josh predicted it to 210. Guys, I got in at a conservative price. I'm in profit right now. I can set my stop loss at break even. Of course, that doesn't protect me in, pre-market and post-market moves, but I have a risk-controlled position, and you've got to take a risk at some point, and Amazon's come down enough for me to consider taking a risk on it. So that's the Amazon play. Now, back to Hawaiian Electric and the conversation that I had with the attorney. Here's what he told me. He said that before Hawaiian Electric on the 19th of this month was a settlement offer based on the group of attorneys that are representing all of the injured parties for them to agree to that they will have to pay out to be able to survive and stay in business. Now, he shared a lot of interesting details. One of them in particular was the fact that they just didn't have the deep pockets that investors had turned away because of the minimal amount of users. And what that means is there's actually not a lot of people living on Maui. There was around 1 million Maui customers, which means that if you have put yourself into a bad situation and you owe billions of dollars, there's simply not enough money to one day get out of those million users to get back into the green. And so he sort of indicated that this stock could go to zero if they didn't agree to the settlement that's in front of them over the next 2 days. Now, this is just conjecture, all right? These are not facts. I thought they were interesting, and I had a longer conversation with him, and maybe I'll get with Stock Up with Larry Jones, who's also paid close attention to this particular play. Maybe him and I will do a video and talk about it and hash out more of what he said. But I'll tell you, this guy knew his stuff. He actually said there was concrete evidence to the fact that Hawaiian Electric was guilty of those wildfires. He said termite destroyed power poles that had collapsed and burn marks that clearly had indicated their liability, that they simply couldn't get out from underneath. Entertained a couple scenarios with him, one of which was, well, what if they, can the government come and bail them out? And he said, yes, but that stock would probably go to zero and it wouldn't be a reorganization if the government stepped in. So there's a lot of dynamics to it, but I want to tell you guys this. If you take anything away from what I've just shared, regarding Hawaiian Electric is understand that on the 19th of this month, you're going to be into a much riskier situation. So it's going to be a news-driven event. And so it's popped from $7 up to $13. But depending on how that news comes out Monday of this coming week, the stock could literally fall back all the way below $7. So be careful. Now, if they do settle, there is the opportunity that it would even go higher. Fascinating conversation. We'll talk about it more with you guys. All right, guys, you're going to get the most technicals from me, the most answered questions from me, and the most plays from me in the Stocks with Josh Discord. Don't sleep on it. People are making money. Matter of fact, I'm just going to end this video with a couple folks that shouted out some wins today that I want to acknowledge. Reza2391 grew their small account today by 1,354. Ready for Success grew their account by just under $2,000. Happy Corona, they said it was their first day here and they booked a $500 win on Tesla. Welcome to the Discord. 500 bucks richer. That's awesome. BR Niaz 101 booked $3,530 with the Tesla call this morning, and Cash Money was up $215, and there was too many more to share with you guys. But we are making some money. We're not always going to win. Just like the video at the open, life has ebbs and flows, and we're going to be prepared either way. Today was a winning day for our swing trades. It was a down day for long-term portfolios. I doubt anybody was up today there. Everything was pulling back, even small caps, which had been on a heater. I warned just the other day at 225 that that would be a wall and that we should expect them to come back, and they did. With everything else, they pulled back, but there's going to be future strength there as well, as long as the Fed does eventually give us some rate cuts. And Wall Street likes to invest 6 months in advance, and so we're going to continue to see that potentially on the upswing. Those are my thoughts for the day. I'll catch you guys in the comments section. Thank you for the likes. Hit that subscribe. Peace and blessings. Take care. Talk to you soon.